Hey everybody, here's your review on 4.1 to 4.3 having to do with matrices. So on the first one you want A plus B, and so you just ignore C and D. And so you're going to do 3 by 2 plus another 3 by 2. Now what you could do is just add corresponding parts, like 6 plus -2 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, and so forth, and do that. The other way, like we've been saying, is on the calculator. You do menu, 7 for matrix, and then 1 for create a matrix, 3 rows because it's 3 tall and 2 wide, so we want 3 by 2, and I like to press tab in between and just do this. Now normally, just as a side note, we usually just use this for multiplication and for inverses, because addition is so simple that you don't really have to do it this way, but if you want to, you can. It's just up to the individual, or if you want to check your work, just make sure you don't do a typo. And there. So we get 4, 5, 14, -8, and 1, 15. Okay, on the next one, it wants to know the value of each variable. So you've seen this problem a few times, and the easiest way is to set the corresponding positions equal. So you get 4 for x, and then this corresponding position, 6 equal 9 minus 10t, so subtract 9 and you get -3 equal -10t. Then you divide by -10 because you divide by the number in front of the variable, so you get 3/10, but it wants a decimal, so put 0.3. Most of the time we've seen you get either 0.3 or 0.1 for it, but you could have different numbers. Okay, now on this one you want to add the matrix. I'm just going to call this A. So if we add A to both sides, you're just going to do this matrix. Again, it's adding, so we really don't have to use the calculator, but I will. It's a 2 by 2, 4, -5, 0, 3, plus 1, menu 7, 1, 1, 1, 5, -3, 4. And so that gives you your answer, 5, 0, -3, 7. Okay, on the next one, on this one, what you want to do is add 3x to both sides, and then subtract this one. When I was looking over your homework, the most common mistake is like dividing by a -3 instead of a +3. But if we bring it over and if we subtract, then it's a +3. So you basically do 2 times the matrix, -9, 3, -2, -8. Okay, there's that matrix, then minus the other matrix, 8, -2, -1, and 0. So you get that, and then you divide by 3, the scalar 3, and so this is your answer, -26 thirds, 8 thirds, -1, and -16 thirds. Okay, on your next one, we have to compare the scores, and so the first thing we do for this is the individual events are here and the points are here. So we're going to do a matrix with 8, 6, 2, 6, 8, 12, and multiply that by the scores 5, 4, 1. And then we need to add the matrix that has 8, 5, 6, 9. And on that one it says 5 points for first place and no points for second place. So basically just do that. So this is a 2 by 3 matrix. This is a 3 by 1. So that means that the dimensions, worked out because the middles are equal, and then 2 by 1 is the answer. And on this one, it's a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 1. So again, you have a 2 by 1 answer. So the easiest way is just type it all out on this one. So we have a 2 by 3 matrix. We go 8, 6, 2, 6, 8, 12 times the matrix 3 by 1, 5, 4, 1 plus the matrix 8, 5, 6, 9 times the matrix that's a 2 by 1 5, 0. Okay, so your answer is 106, 104. That's so much simpler than working it out by hand. So if that's the case, then 106 corresponds to the top one, which is the West River. So that's 106, and this one's 104. Now what they want you to do is change this to be 3 points for second place, but then looks like everything else stays the same. So what you do is you just up arrow and press enter, and then you just change this one to a 3. And then there's your answer, 196. And then the top one's still 1, which is West River, with a score of 100. Okay. Now there's other ways to copy and paste. If you wanted to not just press enter, you can do Control C and then Control V. But anyway, that's how that works. Okay, now on this one, you're trying to find the product DEF. When I printed this on paper, the formatting is a little weird. This one has 3 columns and this one has 2 columns. Now what we usually say is do inside parentheses first and then get an answer, and then do D times your answer in that order. Now because it is primarily on the calculator, you could just multiply all of those and not have to use parentheses or anything. So you get a 3 by 3 matrix, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, negative 2, negative 4, negative 3, 0, times the matrix that's a 3 by 3, 5, 1, 0, 6, negative 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, and also times the matrix that's a 3 by 2 matrix, negative 1, 1, 4, 0, 5, negative 3. Okay, so that's your answer. And so you end up with negative 1, 5, negative 28, 0, 4, negative 20. And so that goes into that part. So it should look a lot cleaner on the computer. it should just look like this, with the -1, 5, -28, 0, 4, -20. So your answer is a 3 by 2 matrix, not the 3 by 3. So this one was a 3 by 3, which was wrong, and this one was a 3 by 2, which is right. Okay, on this one, we want to determine whether the matrices are multiplicative inverses. So what I have written down here is practice the determinant. So if you do your determinant of the matrix by typing DET, if you get equal to 0, then that means the inverse doesn't exist. So determinant means determine if the inverse exists. That's one of its uses besides the area of the triangle. And if it's not 0, then the inverse exists. So most of the time what we do is we just try the inverse and then see if it matches. And to do an inverse, you have to raise it to the -1 power. So again, on the calculate screen, 2, -7, -1, 4, raise to the -1. That gives me 4, 7, 1, 2, which is that. Okay. And then if I do this one, by the way, I'm just going to highlight, press enter. If I do that, -1, then it gives me the 2, -7, -1, 4. So you do get the same thing. Like, it works this way as well as that way, and so it's a yes in my problem, because you got what we wanted. Now on this one, let's just see. Menu 7, 1, 1, 1/6, -1/12, 0, 1/18. Okay, so do that up arrow -1, and then I get 6, 9, 0, 18. And so that also worked. Okay, so I'm actually just going to change this a little bit to make it easy. If you say -1 this equal this, and then put a question mark, it's yes. And if you do 6, 9, 0, 18, -1 equal the other one, that would be yes also. So again, we can do this, up here in -1, and there you see it. So we did get 1/6, -1/12, 0, 1/18. Okay, number 9, the area of the figure. Okay, so normally we would say area equal base times height, but it's an oblique triangle because it's slanted on 2 of them. It's just flat on 1 of them. So you have to use your formula, 1/2 the determinant of the matrix. And for this part, these are your coordinates, and these have to be 1s. And it's a 3 by 3 matrix. The other thing you're going to want to remember is to either do absolute value of it or just change it to positive, because you can't have negative area. So on this one, I want half, or you could put 0.5 as half. The determinant 0, 0. All these had to be 1s. That one's a 1, 4, and this one is a 9, 4. Okay, so let me try that, and if we get a negative, then we'll just change it to positive. Three by 3 matrix, because the 1s are the extra. Okay, see, I got negative 16, so you just change it to positive 16. So if you want to follow the formula exactly, you just stick your little absolute value symbol in here. So you can go like this and stick your determinant inside. But that seems to be a pain right now. So the easiest way, if it is a pain like that, is to just go menu, go to here, highlight your answer, and you get positive. Okay, so you have a positive. Now on this one, you just have to use your diagonal and set it equal. If it's no inverse, that means the determinant equals 0. And so the only time that would happen is if you do this diagonal equal this product of the diagonal, and so you get 10/3. So the only time where you do that and set it equal is if it's no inverse, because we know by definition no inverse means the determinant must be 0. Remember that relationship. So you just do this one divided by that one. Okay, on this one, again, the easiest way is just to type it. By the way, if you forgot, you could have said 3 for determinant right there, 7 then 3, and it puts the parentheses. And we get 4. So all you do is you put DDT. There's a much longer way on paper, but it's really not worth it unless that feature was disabled. Okay, now you have a question about the coding matrix. And so first we start with this has 3 numbers, and 4 numbers, which is 6. Plus 4 is 10. So we divide that up into 2 rows and 5 columns. So we get 5, 5, 5, 2, 6. Then carry it over 3, 1, 1, 3, 3. And then just do that one times that one. Okay, let's check it. You're going to have a 2 by 2 times a 2 by 5. So your 2's match. So that means you really can multiply. So what that means is you cannot do a 5 by 2. You can't do a 2 by 5 times a 2 by 2 because these do not match. And so it really is important that you put the coding matrix first. Okay. So menu 7, 1, 1, 2, negative 3, 3, 5 times the matrix 2 by 5, 5, 5, 5, 2, 6, 3, 1, 1, 3, 3. And so then that's your answer. So 1, 7, 7, negative 5, 3, 30, 20, 20, 21, 33. Okay. Then this one, you want to solve for x and their matrices. So normally you'd say if you have ax equal b, then you just have b divided by a. But that's not going to work for matrices. Because if you have a 3 by 1 divided by a 3 by 3, oops, negative 2. It says error, invalid data type. In other words, division doesn't work. And so what we would do is if we have ax equal b, then we multiply both sides by a negative 1, because that's the inverse. The inverse times a cancels, and so you're just going to have a negative 1 times b. And they tell you, well, and sometimes they tell you what the inverse is, sometimes you just have to do it. So if we type this 3 by 3 matrix, raise it to the negative 1 power, and then times the 3 by 1. Here's where you would put 6, 6, 8. Then that's your answer. 18, negative 6, 8. Okay. So notice you have to put your inverse first, which was a 3 by 3, and then times b, which was a 3 by 1. Okay. Oh, this problem, just a second. Okay, so on this one, what you're going to want to do is put your 100, 300, 500, and 2600 calories together, because it's basically food A plus food B plus food C equal the total, and then you're going to have 14, 11, 9, 88, and 350, 1100, 200, and 4600. And do RREF to this 3 by 4 matrix. So let's type that. Okay, so RREF, or if you forget that R, what you need to do is go to reduced row echelon form, and then menu 711, you have a 3 by 4 matrix, and type in your numbers. And that gives you your answer is 233. And over here it just has your 100, 010, and 001. So this is your answer, 233. So that's how that works. So don't try to make it horizontal because that won't work. Horizontal won't work. You have to do these with this number, and then these with that number, and then these with that number. And when you do RF, it should work. On the next one, it wants to know the order of the matrix, and this is 2 rows and 3 columns. So you do 2x3. Then it wants to know for position 32. There are not 3 rows, and so this one does not exist. And for this one, the second row, third column is this number, which is -2. Okay. On this one, you just need to make sure you're typing it properly. You're going to have a 2 by 2 matrix, and you're doing A plus B, then times the matrix, and again I need parentheses around it, and then this one has minus. Okay, so that's how you set it up, and then you can just type in all your numbers. So 0, 0, -1, 1. That's the A matrix, and you want to add the B matrix, which is 0, 1, 1, 0. And then for the C matrix, you get -1, -1, -1, 0. And for the D matrix, it's -1, 1, 0, 1. Okay, so that gives you your answer, which is all -1s. Yours could have one of them as positive or more than one positive. It just depends on what's happening here. But you have this expression times that expression, and you have a plus and a minus. Okay, now on this one you have A plus B, which we know is just like 5 minus 9, it's -4. -8 minus 9 is -17. 0 minus 4 is -4. -2 plus -1 is -3. 4 minus 9 is -5. -6 plus 7 is 1. Okay, so that's all from adding. And then now we have to subtract, and so you're going to say minus a negative, or you could just change them.